Hold tight, because the price tag on your dream stack of 10,000 XRP is sprinting away faster than my dog when the treat jar rattles, and I'm about to show you just how wild that chase can get. But here's the twist. The very AI tools that we chat with every single day are dropping numbers that might make your drawer do a double flip, and they don't even agree with each other. Okay, so quick disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all your money that you invest. Always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. Your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses. This video is entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright then, story time. Picture me last night, standing in line at a 24-hour shawarma joint, scrolling prices on my phone just because I can't even order garlic sauce without checking what XRP is doing. Right there on the exchange app, I see that neat little green candle sitting at $2.16. 216. Less than 8 months ago, the same chart barely kind of tipped 50 cents, and my late night snack kind of costs more than a single token. Now, of course, the slice of chicken is the kind of side dish, and XRP is, well, the entree. So naturally, the guy behind me, total stranger, leans over and whispers, "Dude, do you think I can still grab 10k XRP, before I'm priced out?" And he kind of says it like we're discussing concert tickets. Not 21 grand of crypto. And, that kind of sparks the conversation that you and I are having right now. Let me start with the math that slapped both of us across the face whilst the shawarma spun slowly behind the counter. Now, at $2.16, scooping up 10,000 XRP kind of sets you back around $21,000 and $21,600, I should say. Now, if you kind of grow, at least your gross income kind of hovers around 48 grand, that's, well, technically doable, right? Twice even, if you don't eat, pay rent, and sleep on the kind of optimism of bull markets. But hey, reality check here, right? We've got bills, we've got Wi-Fi, and maybe even a hobby or two that doesn't involve staring at candlestick charts. And here is where the plot thickens then, right? Think back to November, right? 2024. XRP lounged at around kind of near 50 cents. 50 cents. Now, on the kind of same 48k salary, you could have snagged 10,000 XRP 9 times over and still had some pocket lint left for fries. So that's the kind of cold, hard reminder that our window of affordable is actually shrinking faster than my self-control near a dessert. Now, because I'm kind of a glutton for punishment, I ask the smartest machine that we've built, that's Gemini, ChatGPT and Grok, to predict where XRP might land, by 2030. Now, I'm talking the year that we will probably actually have self-driving pizza delivery and a fridge that kind of tattles when you steal midnight snacks. And their numbers? Well, they're pretty spicy. Now, Google's Gemini kind of strutted in first, dropping a confident $15 per XRP on the table. Now, that's a $150,000 invoice for your 10,000 token dream. Suddenly, the average salary looks like loose change, kind of sliding between couch cushions. ChatGPT, yes, the cousin that I'm conversing through this with right now, kind of, showed up kind of a smidge less bullish, but still kind of hefty at $12. Now, 120 grand. The translation here, well, you're still coughing up more than a kind of double that annual paycheck. Unless, of course, you're kind of, stacking side hustles like Pokemon cards. Then Grok rolled in like the chill kid at the back of class. $5.50. that $55,000, bucks for 10,000 tokens. Now, honestly, the crypto terms, that almost kind of sounds reasonable, but it's still north of a year's salary unless you've kind of got, impeccable budgeting skills or a dog that kind of mines Bitcoin whilst you sleep. And if you do, you should probably DM me because we need to kind of talk royalties. And just when I thought that the AI trio had painted the full picture, the human analysts came in swinging for the fences. So Changelly's research desk, they say, hold my chart, let's hit $20 plus. Now that punts our 10K stash to 207,000 smackaroos. Telegaon, well, they waltzed in wearing moon boots, claiming 36.80, or at least $36.80 a pop. Now, that's 368 grand, folks, right? That's roughly the kind of price of a reasonable and respectable suburban house or 3 years of avocado toast in Dubai, depending on your priorities, of course. So let me kind of wrap that math into a metaphor big enough to park an electric truck inside. So right now, XRP feels like a sports car that you could finance. Pricey, but it's attainable with discipline. By kind of 2030, it might actually be the private jet of tokens, technically purchasable, but only if your accountant has an offshore account and a sense of humor. And so that brings us to the kind of relatable gut punch then. None of us kind of like being priced out. So it's kind of the crypto equivalent of watching, concert tickets go on sale, refreshing the page and discovering that every seat is suddenly VIP platinum exclusive ultra row with kind of a 4-figure fee. Now, the problem here is that we're kind of wrestling with the isn't just price, right? It's the feeling of missing the rocket while still standing on the launch pad, waving a sparkler like, hey, I want some, wait for me. So the question becomes, how do we wrestle with this beast without turning into the crypto version of, Ebenezer Scrooge? And here's the lesson that I'm kind of scribbling on my mental whiteboard once again. Entertainment only, not advice, okay? First is the accumulation strategy. This is a fancy term for nibble now, chew later. If your budget says you can only grab 100 XRP a month, well, there's still a seat on the rocket. And it's the dollar cost averaging dance, right? You scale in slowly, smoothing out the, terrifying dips and, dizzying kind of peaks. Now, my buddy kind of calls it the financial drip coffee. Slow, steady, caffeine-loaded wealth. Second, you've got to diversify, right? Diversification. Yes, XRP is shiny, but even the best jewels kind of look dull next to a complete crown, right? So spreading risk across assets means that you're not emotionally, at least you're not an emotional hostage to one chart, right? When XRP is having a bad hair day, maybe your other bag, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Cardano, or some other kind of low-cap gem that you researched for 6 weeks, keeps your portfolio looking presentable. Third, and I shout this louder than the shawarma guy yelling extra garlic, education, right? So hang out in rooms where smart people talk, where bad ideas get politely obliterated, and where charts kind of turn into teachable moments. And speaking of rooms, our free educational Discord server is literally built for that vibe. There's a link down in the description down below. Hop in, lurk, ask, meme. Just bring curiosity and maybe a GIF or two. Okay, so now let's address the big elephant wearing the Bluefin t-shirt. And you'll hear me kind of rave about Bluefin's crypto exchange in other videos because it's genuinely slick, right? Especially for the kind of up and coming traders who hate clunky interfaces. So when you kind of click on the Bluefin link in the description, you need to know two things. One, it's an affiliate link that supports the channel. Two, the commission doesn't cost you an extra cent, but it does keep my caffeine supply topped and these deep dive videos flowing. Transparency hat on, shining, and of course, hopefully stylish. All right then, so story break, right? Flashback to early 2024, right? I was kind of scraping quarters off my desk to hit that kind of 50-cent XRP dip, right? I even kind of paused Netflix because the kind of teal green candles looked more dramatic than any kind of cliffhanger series. And I remember tweeting something like this: buying XRP today feels like ordering pizza before the Super Bowl. It's delicious, but you know the price doubles next week. Now, fast forward to now, and the pizza analogy aged better than I expected. And if AI, analysts, and plain old supply and demand math agrees on one thing, in fact, it does agree on one thing, and that's that scarcity gets real the closer that we actually inch to mainstream adoption. Okay, so let's dive into the why behind these spicy 2030 predictions then, because context makes all the numbers a little bit less dizzying. So institutional adoption, right? Picture Ripple inking deals with banks the way that influencers sign brand collabs, right? Except instead of teeth whitening paste, you're actually talking global cross-border settlements. And every time a financial heavyweight kind of plugs into RippleNet, well, demand kind of trickles, then pours into XRP. Now, the demand, my friend, is, well, rocket fuel. Then we have regulatory clarity, right? The legal fog over crypto is slowly lifting, like morning haze over the desert. If the SEC versus Ripple saga finally wraps up favorably and other jurisdictions follow suit, well, uncertainty dissolves, and investors hate uncertainty even more than I hate cold coffee. So clarity kind of flips the green light for big money managers who've kind of been lurking on the sidelines. Then we have use case expansion, right? We're no longer in 2017 where crypto equaled basically buy coffee with Bitcoin, ironically. Now today we'll actually see programmability, tokenized asset, and yes, central bank digital currencies that might ripple, pun alert, all the way through XRP's ecosystem. Now, every kind of new corridor that Ripple opens is another straw sipping from the liquidity pool. And you know how straws work. The more that you slurp, the faster the cup empties. So now let's cue the climax then, right? Imagine it's late 2029. You're on a holiday party, peppermint latte in hand. The playlist is nostalgic, right? Mashup of maybe the 2020s hits. And someone asks, remember when you could buy XRP for single digits? You glance at the chart, $30 a coin, and realize 10K tokens is now 300 grand trophy, right? You either toast your kind of foresight or grimace at the chance that slipped away while you argued with your roommates about who finished the milk. Now that's the kind of fork in the road that we stand at today, and it's less about predicting perfectly and more about acting sensibly before the window actually slams shut. Okay then, so deep breath. Let's summarize without the kind of drama, right? Today, 10,000 XRP costs roughly $21,600. AI ranges anywhere from $5.50 to $15 by 2030. And human analysts, they stretch as high as $36.80. Now that's across every scenario, except Grok's, the Dream stack kind of blows kind of past an average annual salary. So price out risk is real and, ticking like a bit of a countdown clock, if you will. And so what can the everyday earner do then? Well, revisit your budget, carve out a steady allocation, learn and lean into and on communities that cut through all of the hype, and use exchanges that don't make you want to hurl at your keyboard, right? Bluefin, we see you there. And pay attention to tax implications, right? Nobody likes surprise letters from their revenue services. Now, before we kind of wrap up, here's a quick thank you to everyone who's already hanging out in the free Discord, right? Your chart, memes, and late night Q&A sessions turn this channel into a monologue or at least from a monologue into a full-blown mastermind, right? If you're new, the invite link is chilling in the description. Come and say hi, flex your gains, and share your brutal liquidation stories so that we can all learn together. And to my Bluefin crew, thanks for clicking that affiliate link, right? Snagging up your bonuses and, keeping the lights and coffee machine on. You're literally funding the research rabbit holes that I dive into at 3 a.m. when normal people are sleeping. Now, all right, the soap kind of box aside, let's kind of land this plane, right? XRP's future could actually be a smooth glide or a potential roller coaster with no seatbelt. But one truth does stick here. Waiting for the perfect kind of certainty is the most expensive strategy of all. Whether you accumulate slowly, stash a lump sum down, or decide to watch from the sidelines with popcorn, you want to make the move, eyes wide open, regardless. And so if you've enjoyed this kind of ride through the math, the speculation, the shawarma shop kind of philosophy, smash the next thumbnail on the screen right now, because the rabbit hole is only kind of gets deeper from here.